Hey everyone, it's Matt from British Business. I'm here with Tom, my co-host. How are you, Tom? You okay?
Oh, I'm okay, yeah, I'm all good, thank you very much.
Excellent. So today we're covering haters, trolls and tough feedback and kind of how to deal with those negative comments.
All right, yeah.
So that can be both personally and in business.
Yeah.
So I want to think about it like that because actually this podcast, it's our audience is business owners, and sometimes you'll have those comments come internally
Yeah.
from either your staff or maybe suppliers or customers. So I think it's important to think about this kind of subject in with that like level of dynamism. Is that a word? Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to say it is, yeah.
Yeah, just about.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
So guys, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but we on the last episode we had a new little feature at the very end. So if you haven't listened to that, you need to go back to the previous episode and let us know what you think. Yeah, we'd really like some feedback. So if you can comment and just give us bits and pieces, because we want to make the podcast better, it'd be really helpful. So we're just going to go straight into it today, I think. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, before I do, I just wanted to mention when I was away, I just thought it was really worth mentioning. I was in Criccieth. Do you know Criccieth?
No, go on, whereabouts?
Criccieth in Wales. So you go. Right. So you got North Wales, and you go down past. Is it Carnarvon or Carmarthen? Carnarvon,
yeah.
And then you're down towards Pwllheli. There's a place called Criccieth, and I was staying on a haven site while I was away a few weeks back, and I just thought it was a really great little business, like pivot/diversification.
Yeah.
So there's this business on the coast in Criccieth it's basically a pitch and putt, like a 9-hole golf course.
Yeah.
I think it was originally a full golf course, but then part of it was sold for building or whatever, I don't know. But the guy that owns it, obviously in the winter, it must be dead.
Yeah, it'd be hard work, yeah.
So what he's done is he's put one of these on the edge of the cliff, looking down at the beach. He's put this sauna, and it's got like a big piece of glass in the front, and then it's got like a separate little hut with like a cold plunge in.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Great idea.
And I was just chatting to him, I was like, this is such a great way of like diversification, because it's like the opposite of the summer. Because in the winter, people want to go in the sauna.
Yeah.
I was just like, and it's amazing when you look around the UK, like all these little independent businesses, there's all these ingenious little ideas.
Yeah.
And last episode we talked about taking action. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Like, and he was telling me it's just a trailer chassis underneath on wheels,
right.
And they've just like used steel, and his mate's a welder, and they just welded it together, and then they've panelled it, and I was just like, fuck.
Very creative to do that, then, isn't it? Resourceful as
Fair
well.
Play. But it's busy. He's got an app for it.
Yeah.
I booked it for 10 days before Tilly got poorly. I think I booked it like 5 or 6 times. Just went there in the morning for an hour or late on.
Yeah.
Great.
You like a sauna, don't you? I mean, the health benefits of them are fantastic, aren't they? So
yeah, well, I like chatting to people, and in the sauna there was like people coming, because you booked a session, there'd be like 6 or 7 slots, and like local people were using it.
Right, good.
So if you think the pitch and putt is like tourists,
yeah,
and then the sauna is being used by local people,
in the community,
which I thought was quite, and tourists like me were in
there.
Yeah. Chatting to a German couple, just quite interesting. This German couple had driven from Germany to Cornwall, and then up the Cornish coast. Then they'd done the Welsh coast, and then they were driving back to Germany the next day. Quite an interesting chat with them.
Good on them.
I asked them what they thought of the UK.
Go on.
They gave us
give honest feedback.
Yeah, I was like, I almost said I can tell you German. It's just like, anyway. So British business fact of the week. I actually really like this fact because I'm familiar with it, and I just think it's such a great story of sometimes the status quo is the right decision.
Yeah.
So, in 2018, KFC ran out of chicken.
I remember this.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, they moved Carrier, didn't they?
Yeah, so 600 UK restaurants shut down because their new delivery partner, DHL, failed to handle the supply chain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an absolute PR disaster for DHL, because KFC just outed them.
Yeah.
They were just like, we switched to DHL and they've failed. They've let us down.
Shocking.
But then also KFC, it's a little bit like, well, why did you switch? Why did you not stick with who you? And it was probably on money or something.
It'd be costings, won't it?
Exactly, yeah. So it happened, like you said, because KFC dropped their reliable chicken distributor, and then in brackets, ChatGPT say Bidvest, which I didn't know the name of who they were before. So they must have been using like they must have switched. I'll have to check this afterwards, but it sounds like Bidvest are a specific chicken distributor.
Right. Yeah.
And have their own distribution, whereas they were using possibly manufactured, whether they were like it must be like the final mile from the food distributor. I mean, using DHL for chicken, that just sounds like a bad idea.
It does, but it was a bad idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, like.
Oh, there'd be some heads that roll for that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So DHL underestimated the complexity of fresh food delivery, causing major delays in empty stores nationwide.
Yeah.
Because I'd imagine a lot of the individual DHL depots probably don't have cold storage.
No problem. But
I would presume maybe
perishable.
they didn't have enough. They didn't have the capacity.
And you think, how many 600 stores shut? Loads of franchise stores as well, so that impacted the franchisee.
Yeah.
Or the
People would have been
employees.
well annoyed.
Oh God, yeah.
So, but they did. KFC quickly rehired Bidvest to restore stable supply. I hope Bidvest put the prices up.
Yeah, they're all done. Yeah. Oh, you want to come back, dear?
Yeah.
10%, 15%.
But then I thought this was quite good, and I actually Googled it afterwards, and it was quite an interesting little kind of like PR apology ad. So what they did was they did this they did an ad where it was an empty bucket of KFC, but rather than saying KFC, it said FCK.
Oh, yeah.
So fuck.
Yeah. No, good.
Which I thought, and I looked it up and I was like, yeah, that's quite funny. So turning their logo into a joke on an empty bucket.
Yeah.
The honesty and humour flipped a PR disaster into a loyalty win, and that year UK sales grew by 3%. So the business is so it just shows that like if you do hit a bit of a bump in the road, you can pivot it and sort it out.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? Like with the right decisions and the right action. Like, I mean, if they'd stuck with DHL and hadn't taken quick action, they could have been in a situation where...
Could have been dire, couldn't it?
Yeah, they could have been with... They could have given DHL another chance because they didn't want to go back to Bidvest. So whichever individual was running the ship at that time, even though they'd messed up, it was good that they go, do you know what?
Yeah.
I've effed up here. I'm going to fix it. We'll go back to Bidvest. We'll sort it out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Taking action fast like that.
Yeah, they will have had to bought the Bidvest guy a juicy steak.
Yeah. Let me take you out.
It's definitely a Hawksmoor trip, that one.
Yeah.
Have you ever... Well, it's interesting I can think of carriers for us, but have you ever swapped suppliers to save money and regretted it?
Well, no, I tell you what, though, we have come close a few times with different softwares and carriers. I mean, we've gone all the way to the final point of almost putting pen to paper, but then we managed to renegotiate with the current suppliers.
Yeah.
And we've gone for the default, like what KFC should have done is sort of better the devil you know. Like, we've already worked with this company for 15 years plus. We're going to move to, say, 15%. Actually, they've come down in price, a little bit. So we're going to meet, where it still works, how it works for us.
I'm going to disagree with you, and I think actually I agree with what you've said, but I disagree with you in the sense that I think it's really important that you do switch now and again.
Yeah.
I've definitely had my fingers burnt just like KFC have. But I've also gained massively by switching on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Because when you do it, you can often get a fantastic deal with the people that want to win your business. And yes, sometimes that new partner is a bit SHIT. But typically, overall, I would say on average, when we've switched things, it's worked quite well.
Yeah.
We're about to switch away from a piece of software that manages some of our inventory, not our warehouse management system, and move to an alternative. And we've been with this company for a while, but they've really mistreated us. Like there was a period, so they were an independent SaaS company, so software as a service, and they basically sold, which great, fantastic day for the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
They sold out to Sage.
Yeah, I know it is.
And basically what happened was we were just trundling along paying a couple of £100 a month.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we got switched off in peak.
Oh, God. Right.
I was like, what is going
For
on
what
there?
reason?
Reached out to them. It was like, oh, well, you haven't accepted our new contract, so we've just switched your service off.
That's great, isn't it? No one reaches out, no phone calls.
So for me, that was a moment in time where I was like, I am leaving you at some point. So when I can, when the moment is right. And obviously we've been through there's been loads of things going on in my business where we've implemented new systems and stuff, so it's been on the back burner. But when we leave them, I'm going to out them. I'll be slagging them off on this podcast 100%. But I don't want to destabilise the boat right now. But they And they hiked the price like sixfold.
Yeah.
600% increase.
Yeah, ridiculous.
In the middle of peak.
Yeah. So you
They
had
knew
no choice.
they knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah, they got to buy the
It was
short
November.
curlies. Yeah.
And we had to sign a 12-month contract.
Yeah.
So, out of principle, I knew we were leaving. And when we leave, I'm going to out them on LinkedIn.
Yeah, good.
We'll write a post about it.
Yeah, you can warn other people about them because
Yeah, exactly.
I know the behaviour. We've dealt with them and we didn't last with them.
Yeah, they've got great sales and marketing team. But what I would say is the software itself actually for us has been fantastic. It's just since Sage have taken them over, I'm just like...
The service levels dropped and the prices increased.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, I think sometimes you've got to switch things up.
Yeah.
And sometimes things might be working, but it's good just to change it.
Yeah.
So I think the KFC thing it's quite a good story.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a warning, but my counter to that is you should switch stuff up. You shouldn't be scared of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you do mess it up, you can turn it around.
Yeah. You've got time.
Yeah. Anyway, so into today's kind of topic, we're kind of talking about trolls, bad reviews, savage comments.
Yeah.
It kind of leads a little bit into the reputation episode we did a few episodes ago, but this is specific about like negative feedback and like taking it on the chin, learning from it, what you can do with it, etc. So, and also the personal impact, I think.
Yeah.
Like thinking about the psychology of business owners and how, like, we all try and do a fantastic job, but if someone walks into your butcher's shop and says, "Listen, Fred, I bought this ribeye steak. It's a load of shit." It's like, whoa.
Yeah. You're thinking, hold on a minute. Yeah.
It's like, and poor Fred stood there thinking, well, I thought it was all right, but this customer's got this opinion, and he's probably told 10 people already, and it's like, how do you deal with that?
That's it with negative
I think us with our businesses, sometimes it's like you feel like when your business is being criticised, it's like a personal attack on you.
Yeah, you 100% feel it and take it personally. Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, you get personally attacked, is it an attack on the business? And then, like, your peers, like your business partners get defensive of you, and it's like...
Yeah.
It's hard. It is hard. Why do you think, psychologically, for business owners and people, one hateful comment so heavily outweighs 10 positive comments?
Yeah, it's
psychologically. It's such an interesting thing.
That's very true. Yeah, because of the ratio. It's the noise of a negative comment or feedback.
Yeah.
Because you ultimately, praise is nice. You get it, and you hear it and it feels good. But a negative comment, I think, hurts. It cuts deeper. A negative comment.
Yeah.
And you tend to,
especially if you know it's true.
Yeah. If it's valid and there's reasons behind it, I think you sort of ruminate on that and you think, oh, actually, probably there's a bit of denial in the first place. What are they on about? They don't know what we're talking about. And then actually you think, oh, actually, they probably have got a valid point here. And I think that's where it hurts. And you hold on to negativity, I think, in terms of, right, where did we go wrong, actually?
Yeah.
And then use that as a positive thing. Right, okay, fair enough, valid point. What can we do to put something in place so that we don't get any negative comments or feedback like that again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think people listen more to the negative versus a positive feedback?
I think people are all naturally a little bit like anxious about themselves.
Yeah.
I think we're all, like anyone that says that I think we're all a bit self-conscious. Mm-hmm. And I think when someone criticises you, it's like, oh.
Yeah, take it personally.
And if you've not got your armour or shield up at that particular moment, it can really cut you deep.
Yeah.
Especially when it's true.
Yeah.
If you're trying to convince yourself that, no, we do a good job, but then it's like, no, this is a problem.
Yeah.
But then also, sometimes the feedback, you have to kind of go, okay, and this is where I think it's really important to rationalise negative feedback. Mm-hmm. You might have one customer that's saying, you are terrible, you've ruined my life, or it might be like you personally, they might be saying that, oh, God, Matt, you're this, you're that. It's just one person's opinion.
Yeah. And
actually, there's a load of people that are quietly happy.
Yes.
Or quietly disagree.
Yeah.
It's like the silent majority.
Yeah. Which, like you say, is the majority as well.
Yeah.
Because you only really leave negative feedback if you've had a real bad experience and you're angry in the moment. You leave it, you go online, you leave a review on Trustpilot or reviews.io, whatever. Same thing if you're really happy with the product or service, overwhelmingly so, you probably will you'll spread the word more to your peers. But then it has to be exceptional service to even leave a positive review nowadays, I think.
I think getting the consumer. I mean, when was the last time you filled out a review on a website that you'd?
Yeah, considering I'm in the online game and we love
You're heavily reliant
on the customer feedback for the trust and credibility. I very rarely leave reviews, even negative ones. Though, if I had a negative experience, I will speak to customer service and say, like their customer service, this and this has gone wrong. What can we do? Generally, they put it right, but I very rarely leave any form of review publicly.
I tend to online stuff. I don't leave reviews, which isn't very helpful when we think about our business.
Yeah,
I think whenever I'm doing a service in person or I'm dealing with another business, like a B2B business or like a restaurant or pub, I try to leave good reviews on Google.
Yeah.
I would imagine if you looked at my Google reviews, because you can like click people's profile on Google and see what other reviews they said, and you can do the same on Trustpilot. Mine's were like bipolar, so it's like, well, like me, so it's like 5-star, 1-star, 5-star, 1-star. It's just extremes.
Just depends.
Yeah, it's just extremes. But actually, it's so hard to get customers to write good reviews about you or your business.
Yeah.
So actually, inherently, a lot of the noise you see about businesses is negative. Mm-hmm. You have to be really proactive in trying to get people to write good reviews about you.
Yeah, reaching out and giving them a reason why. Ultimately, it's our trust and credibility, doesn't it? And it lets other customers know, actually, there is a good level of service or a good product there.
Yeah.
So the net positive there.
Tough feedback versus pure noise. How do you coach your team to handle brutal reviews? I think we've covered that question before, so we'll skip that one. But have ever fired a nightmare customer for crossing the line? 100%.
Yeah. You have.
Yeah, we definitely have. Yeah. I think there just reaches a point where you're like, no, we're just not going to deal with you.
Yeah, we don't want to do business with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes there's I think I've covered it before, but I'll just mention it again. There's a company, I think, they are still trading, so I won't say who they were, but they had this moment of like absolute, like huge criticism by the BBC.
Right.
Where the BBC did like a front page thing on the website about them.
Yeah.
About like maybe being slightly misogynistic.
Okay.
But it drove a load of revenue and a load of traffic to the site, and they went on this big boom afterwards. So it's like sometimes that kind of reputational damage.
Yeah.
When you're going, oh shit, just the noise around it can be interesting.
Yeah.
Going back to like personally,
Yeah.
because I think that's more what this episode's about. Is there anything where you think, do you know what, someone's give like I can think of scenarios where someone's been critical of me personally. How do you take that personal criticism? Do you find it hard? I think it's natural to find it hard, but how do you typically react if someone says, well, Tom, I don't think you're very good at that, mate?
I think you don't want to deflect or be like, no, I am. When deep down, reflecting on it, whatever the criticism may be, take it on board, listen to it, and don't react straight away, I would say. As a bit of advice, and just think, all right, that's one person's opinion to begin with, isn't it? Yeah. But then actually reflect on it in a bit of quiet time and think, you know what, maybe that individual's right. And that's just room for growth for you, isn't it? To actually, they said I'm no good at communication, for example. Right. How can I be a better communicator? And get to work on that.
Yeah.
So I think it is don't by default put the blocker up and no I've done this, I've done that. No, take it on board.
I look at it as like, especially myself personally, because I think I've done a lot of work over the years to try and improve my personal character.
Yeah.
I think for whatever reason I was a bit of a like very hot or cold person. Everything was to the extreme. I've tried to kind of mellow myself out a little bit because I've had feedback where it's like, come on, Matt, that reaction was just like over the top.
Yeah.
I think I look at it from a personal growth perspective now, and I really try and like, well, okay, they've given me that opinion. They've said that you've not done too well there, or you've not handled that very well, or whatever. I'm like, okay, I will do better.
Yeah.
And I really like. I enjoy the criticism because I almost like view it now as like a game almost, where I'm like, okay, you've said that, won't happen again.
Yeah.
Like
I like that.
I try really hard whenever anyone gives me feedback, because it's not very common I get feedback either. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like personally, within the business, you're kind of a bit like, as managing director, you don't have a boss.
No.
Well, you do have a boss. You definitely have a boss, because you're accountable to your staff. You're accountable to other shareholders. Like for me, my brother and sister are my boss, really. And for me but we don't actively give each other feedback potentially, which is maybe a failure of us. But I think when I do get feedback, it's normally from staff, or I ask for it now, actually.
Yeah. Do you get it directly, or do you hear it on the grapevine?
When I have one-to-ones with people that I directly manage now, I always ask them, is there anything I can do differently? Mm-hmm. And I'm conscious that sometimes I'm not as accessible as I should be to people. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit of feedback that I've had. Or I tend to do like almost like a brain dump on people. So I'll be like, right, are you ready? Boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
boom.
and
Right,
then
I'll
like,
see you in a week.
Yeah.
Which isn't ideal, and I need to get better at maybe that. But I think for me, like this whole process, like we're talking about it now, like I'm thinking like having that negative feedback on the way you handle it is so I just think it's fast. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love negative feedback.
Yeah.
I'll lap it up all day. But Matt, I'm 34 now. Matt, 24. I used to hate feedback.
Yeah.
It used to tear me apart.
Yeah. That's just because you've matured now, though. 10 years
Yeah.
more experience in the game.
And realise how important it is.
Yeah, the value of it, of negative feedback.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's loads of problems with me still.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, but I think I'm working really hard to become better.
Yeah.
And I think if you can just pivot your mind slightly within your business to kind of be, do you know what? Okay, I need to do that. I need to do a better job at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Because then if you receive and accept feedback in a reasonable and fair way from your staff and your peers, it then becomes comfortable and normal for you to go, listen, just wanted to chat about yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think yesterday was a good day.
Yeah.
We need to work better together, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
People are more receptive because you're willing to receive the feedback.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's more of an open forum, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas I think some business owners or business leaders are scared of receiving feedback from their team.
Yeah.
And actually, I try to encourage it.
And they might be fearful of giving that feedback as well to someone in a higher up position within their organisation or the business.
But how does that senior person get feedback otherwise unless they're open?
Well, exactly, that's it. They have to be open. Yeah. They have to be forthcoming with it and ask that question.
Yeah, I think it's
challenging, isn't it?
It's challenging. I think the key with it is like viewing it in that way, staying calm.
Yeah.
Because people, when you criticise someone, they get defensive.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible. I was like that.
Yeah.
Whereas it still happens now and again. I'll get my back up a little bit, but I think in the most part, I spend a lot of time thinking about that, and I think I do a much better job.
Yeah.
I think now it's a little bit of a superpower being able to receive negative feedback.
Yeah.
For the most part, I do an all right job with it. But I think we can all do a better job with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, I think that kind of covers off the whole sometimes I'll just look back. There was one guy, we have actually, I think I mentioned it on a previous episode, and maybe it's cut deep actually.
Right. Yeah, go on.
But not because I care what he said, but because I just thought he was an idiot and he was wrong.
Yeah.
And he commented something about, it wasn't a comment actually, he messaged me, it was someone I knew from uni. Oh, yeah. And he said well, because it was like the reel that Morgan had clipped was something to do with politics or wastage in government. Yeah. And I was rambling on about that. And he went, well, the Tories did shit for so ever long. And I was like, I just messaged him, I said, you have presumed that I think the Tories did a good job.
Yeah.
To be clear, they did a shit job.
Yeah.
Just like Labour are.
Yeah.
And the system is broken.
Yeah.
And in the public sector, there is wastage, and the people that pay for it are the people that live in the country and businesses.
Yeah.
and he never replied.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck off.
Have some of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe I've platformed in there, but actually you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the key, is that sometimes take the feedback and then sometimes go, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Is it valid? No, it's not. So go back and let them know. Yeah.
I think you've got to be like that. But you've got to have that little instrument in your brain that goes, do you know what? I need to be receptive. You need to be receptive initially to that feedback and go, do you know what? Yeah, that didn't sound good, or I didn't handle that situation great. So it's time.
Oh God! Right, go on.
You've got to answer this one because you didn't really answer last. Well, you did a little bit.
Yeah.
ChatGPT question of the week, or question. It's asking a question in relation to what we've. Well, it's actually called, this segment is the ChatGPT question we didn't want to answer.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So, what's the worst piece of criticism you've ever received, and deep down you knew they were right?
Worst bit of criticism. When you say worst, it wasn't delivered in a terrible way.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like the delivery of it, but it was true. I remember.
Cut deep.
Well, it didn't. Well, it did, but I recognise it's valid. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for looking back, reflecting on our business, me and James for years, like, we like this. I know why that's gone wrong now. You know, with hindsight, and we should have dealt with that problem like this, and we should have been more forthright, had them conversations, just dealt with it. You know what I mean? And been, because I'm not really confrontational. We should have been more confrontational about tackling that problem head on.
Yeah.
And me and my brother are very similar personality types, and he did say to me, and I was like, right, I'm going to change. I'm going to be the more confrontational one, and I haven't done it. Okay, because just by default, fall back to like Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, it's the easy, normal thing to do. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
because I find it very difficult for that personality switch. And he said, look, Tom, like the reason why this and this has happened, like we're not confrontational people. We just, view ourselves as nice people, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with being confrontational, but I didn't take that step to be that person.
Yeah.
And originally, I have, I have done that. I've done this and this, but in reality, I haven't. So, although it cut deep, it was 100% valid.
Yeah. It's hard. It is. Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? Like taking that feedback, especially when you know it's right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was right, so I was like,
you're like, yeah, it's fair enough.
And I'm trying to argue the Tosca's my brother, and I'm like, no, actually, you're right. Like,
yeah. And I think actually maturing, like we were saying before, that's the key. Is like maturing to go, yeah, no, I take it on board.
Yeah.
What
about you? Yeah. How do you?
For me, it's definitely like. Now I accept it and I embrace it, and I know it's a personality, it's a part of me. But in my 20s, people would say, "You're all over the place, Matt. Like you're a mess."
Yeah.
Or like people would be like, why can't you just chill out?
Yeah.
Like let's go a bit slower.
Yeah.
And
not possible.
And I used to get angry about it when people would mention it.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "No, it's you. No, it's you." Now I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I am a bit all over the place. Yeah, I'm not happy with the status quo. We need to grow. We need to do this.
Yeah.
We need to do that, or whatever it is personally. Like, how can you do these things all at the same time? Like taking on too much. I am guilty of spinning too many plates.
Yeah.
But I think
that'll have a positive elsewhere though. That in terms of the ideas, the creativity.
I'm always going to be like that.
Yeah.
But what I've got the privilege of now is I've got great people around me.
Yeah.
My brother and sister, like senior people in the business, like we've got a great team, and they need my chaos just as much as I need their tranquility and organisation.
Yeah.
Because without one or the other, so it's such an important thing to have both.
Yes.
Sides to. So yeah, that personal criticism. Actually, that I was receiving in my 20s, and then now I look at it, and when people mention it, like, how is that gonna work? How I'm like, see what happens.
Yeah. Let's just try. Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. So I think that's quite an interesting one. So key takeaways for listeners on this episode: haters happen.
Yeah.
Learn to filter what's true and bin the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Fix the real issue first. Own it openly, then laugh off the noise. I think they're ChatGPT's takeaways, and the final one is sometimes your worst critic is your cheapest consultant, and that is the big one for me.
Yeah.
Is actually the negative feedback is the best. It's like fantastic.
Yeah.
When someone tells you, well, you didn't do this, or well, I don't think you handled that very well. It's like, thank you.
Yeah.
I now know how to become better.
Yeah.
And that's like free consultancy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's great. So that was episode. What episode was that? Then we're on. We're doing all right. We're keeping on going. That's episode 22.
Good.
So we're on track to do a good 40 episodes this year if we can keep consistent.
Consistency is key. Yeah.
So next week's episode for everyone listening is episode 23. What it takes to lead from doing it all to letting go. So it's a bit about micromanaging.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll leave it there. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Cheerio.
Thank you.